I know I'm back in my old dressing room. It's like I never leave. Yeah.
Well, hello there, Tom Hayden Millward here for What's on Stage, and by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. And what is that, pray tell, I hear you cry? Well, it's the official opening night for the West End transfer of Macbeth, starring David Tennant and Cush Jumbo.
Revisiting the piece has been so amazing because on the one hand you thought, okay, we're going from an intimate venue at the Donmar, 300 people, 3 sides, how are we going to make this have this same effect? But what's amazing about this production is the headphones. It's the binaural sound, so it means that somebody who's in essentially the cheapest seats in the theatre can have the same audio experience as the person in the front row.
I suppose it's a bigger theatre, but it feels very much like the show we did before. The fact that all the cast returned was really key because it was a very tight group, and the set is very slightly different, but pretty much in terms of playing it, it's really the same show. And because they could scale up that audio experience to a theatre of nearly 800 people, you have that kind of intimacy, even though the distance is greater to the back of the upper circle, or the balcony. But it hopefully still feels like you're having. There's something of an immersive experience going on. It's slightly more than a normal theatre experience. I think it takes you somewhere slightly other, really inside the heads of the Macbeths, and that's not a very comfortable place to live.
And also, I've been doing shows in the West End since I was 11 or 12 years old, and so to be in a West End theatre that's a Victorian theatre, that's when I feel most at home. So for me, it was like a wonderful experience, and the audiences seem to be absolutely loving it.
Yeah, I was concerned though, because I had no idea how Max was going to stage it, and I didn't know how it would transfer. I was concerned it might lose some of the intimacy that we created. But in actual fact, when we got onto the stage, certainly, you felt the pull of the theatre, and you realised you could actually be expansive and intimate at the same time. And I love doing the show, I'm very proud of it, and I think, audiences seem to get a lot out of it.
We had an incredible time as a cast in the first run, and it was, I don't think I've heard of in a long time, a cast and the whole full stage management crew, hair, makeup, everyone that's come back fully. So that was absolutely incredible. So we slotted in really well, of course, because we knew each other very, very well, which made the rehearsal process a lot easier because it was quite a quick rehearsal process. We only had 2.5 weeks. Also, being most of this cast being Scottish, we've got we just take the piss out of each other, which is great in a way. Have that sense of humour. So yeah, it's been really great.
We fail. Screw your courage to the sticking place, and we'll not fail.
Well, we decided to use binaural technology because I really wanted to set the play in Macbeth and Lady Macbeth's head, and for the audience to kind of hear the play whispered as closely and as intimately as possible. And I guess that meant we had to rehearse with the tech right from the beginning, and from day one in rehearsals, we had Gareth and Laura and microphones and sound, and that was a whole thing to facilitate, but also meant we were able to really integrate that work into the show, and hopefully that's been very rewarding.
Initially, it takes a bit of, deprogramming, because you sort of instinctively kind of punch to the back of the stalls. But actually, once you realise you've got that, it feels like a superpower. You can take the lines right down. You can, especially when this production is so about that kind of internal monologue.
It's a tricky one because technology and theatre sometimes have a little bit of a battle with each other. I think that people are often worried that we're going to lose something by adding something else. In this particular circumstance, David and I were so interested in doing the show in the first place because of what Max Webster, the director, had talked to us about in terms of what does it feel like to go mad what does it really feel like to see three witches? Is it three people hobbling around with sticks? Or is it that you hear things that you can't see, you don't know where they're coming from, and if you're talking about mental health and PTSD and all these things, that's what you're really talking about. So how do you get inside the heads of the Macbeths?
You know, we talked a lot in rehearsals about PTSD, about what happens to a soldier who comes back from war, hearing voices, that internal voice that is sometimes your own, sometimes someone else's, sometimes you don't quite know if it's there or if it's not.
And I think that a marriage of that technology with this show has been so effective, and it's one of the reasons why technology and theatre should coexist, just like it does in many shows that are doing amazingly, that whether it's to do with CGI or magic or Stranger Things, A Cursed Child, all these shows are going hand in hand with technology, and I think it's just boosting our understanding of what the show is.
When Duncan is asleep, but to the sooner shall his day's hard journey soundly invite him. His two chamberlains will I with wine and wassail so convince that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a fume. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in death, what cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy offices that shall bear the guilt of our great kill?
It's a very strange experience for an actor, I think, because you're having a completely different experience as an audience to what we're having. You're hearing pockets of sound and everything that we're just not hearing at all. So it's a very strange thing, because usually theatre is the audience is receiving what you're giving off. But because there's such an amazing soundscape that's been created, it's a very different experience. So I hope you liked it, because I don't have a clue what's happening in those headphones.
Listen to it.
I should.
I mean, for David and I, we've worked together before, and for us it was super interesting because it was actually a cross between TV and theatre. You never, of course, ever on stage get to whisper. You can't. You are not allowed. If you were going to, it would have to be a really big stage whisper. You wouldn't be able to. The idea that you could be so close and speak so personally with somebody, and someone at the back hear you, is like someone's properly eavesdropping on your conversation. It puts you into kind of podcast land or reality TV land, or you are a fly on the wall in their space.
To be able to really whisper. I mean, sometimes we can speak so quietly the person next to us doesn't hear it, but the person at the back of the auditorium does. It's pretty unique. It's got something very unusual and very alive to what Max Webster, our director, wanted to achieve, and it all feels like a sort of perfect meeting of moments, I think.
It's really exciting because sometimes you can just whisper. You don't even need to be on voice. It feels a bit naughty.
And I have found it refreshing, although a bit confusing for the body, because an actor of the, like me, that's, born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, everything in your body when you see a big house goes, I must speak. Like, that's everything that, that it tells you. But it was nice to use other muscles. It was nice to be able to feel things very remotely to yourself, but know that you would feel it. And not worry like, oh, I'm not, sorry, I swore. Oh dear, I'm not projecting,
Bring forth men, children only, for thy undaunted metal should compose nothing but males. Will it not be received when we have marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, used their very daggers that they have done it? Who shall receive it, other? For we shall make our griefs and clamour roar upon his death. Unsettled, and bend up each corporal agent to this terrible feat.
The cast has been amazing to work with. Everyone has really mucked in, and there's been a wonderful team spirit. And I think there were extraordinary actors on that stage, and everyone's doing their really best work, and it feels like they really support each other, both in their unique moments when their characters really shine, but also as an ensemble and a community.
David, for instance, David and Cush, well, I do more stuff with David than I do with Cush, but he doesn't say no. I say, I want to try something, and he says, go for it, try it. Now that's just not in rehearsals. I'm thinking all the time about the play, and sometimes before a show I'll say, can we try just a little bit something different? Maybe go ahead, try it. He's always free to play. So it's been an absolute pleasure working with him.
I only accepted this job because David was playing Macbeth. I have discussed playing Lady Macbeth before, but I've learnt in my career that when you play a character that is so tightly wound up with another, you really have to know that the actor you're working with is somebody that is going to support you. Otherwise, it can actually be quite traumatic to play some of these roles.
Away and mock the time with fairest show. False face must hide, what the false heart doth know.
Well, I think you get to see some really extraordinary acting performances, and I hope above all you get to understand and enjoy the play, and that all of this work and the technology and all the rehearsal we've been done in some ways is at the service of trying to make this play as clear and as powerful as maybe it once was, and it can now seem a bit kind of fogged over by the patina of the past, but we've tried to scrape that off and help the play speak clearly and directly and comprehensibly for now.
To have this language, to be given it, to be able to kind of have this play's been pretty much in performance for 400 years, and yet it still feels so alive and so exciting. That's thrilling, really. I love it.
The Donmar Warehouse production of Macbeth continues its run at the Harold Pinter Theatre until the 14th of December 2024. As always, you can leave your thoughts about the show in the comments section down below. But please, for the love of double toil and trouble, keep it kind. Give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and ring that bell for notifications. And I'll see you next time for What's on Stage.
Working with David is honestly my worst nightmare. He's rude, he's ungenerous,
And David.
Yeah, and David, the other one. Yeah, David's, he's an asshole. Yeah, he's an absolute asshole. Yeah, he's a bastard. You heard it here first, he's an absolute bastard. No, I'm joking, he's great.
and I really couldn't ask for a better partner on a show like this than David. He's really off the charts, and he better say nice things about me. Otherwise, he's gonna be the next murder in the castle.